I'm a trained remote viewer. I lived in Tibet for a year. Part of my training was to be in a cave in a mountain, um, because that expands your mind. It makes you crazy, but it expands your mind. Um, I have decided many years ago to follow what is my mission in my heart and use these skills, which were learned under terrible conditions, to find unseen factors in why people are miserable and unhappy, and also particularly business, because I've always enjoyed being in business. So why on earth would I not apply what it is that I can do that's beyond what most people can do? Why wouldn't I apply it to business? So today we have, as usual, Tuesday at 6, I could be very systematic. We have business chat, unseen factors. We have a war right over there. We don't know where it's going to go. But I can tell you that the human mind creates reality. You know that already, but you don't really apply it to business. The number one concept that I noticed many years ago when I went to formally study business was that concept of market confidence, which is a big thing in this country. We don't have anymore. We ran out. We're on empty in terms of market confidence. Well, but the economy was sustained because of market confidence. There is no more market confidence. So is the economy going to sustain? No, it's not sustaining. It's kind of in a free fall that we're not quite feeling yet. In the other dimensions, we already landed, squash. In the other dimensions, things happen first. What is market confidence? Market confidence is a creation, it's a mental thing that everything's fine. It's a faith, and it's in the crown chakra here, crown chakra. Now, there's an issue with that because cell phones, which you hold here, or those darn earphones, those headphones, they destroy crown chakra, which is faith, where faith is, and third eye, which is where wisdom is. So we're going into this with no extra wisdom, no ability to see beyond what's actually physical, and no confidence and no faith. That is no way to sustain a country. And the truth of the matter is that I already gave up on the idea of sustaining a country because there's two different vibrations on the planet. And one is the people that spend all their time moaning about what's going on and how everything's collapsing. It's supposed to collapse. We're in a paradigm shift, so there's a collapse of the old paradigm and the new paradigm. So you can be hanging on for dear life to the old paradigm as you're moaning how horrible it is and how it's not working. No, it's not working. And that's why it's collapsing, because it wasn't going to work in this new cycle where the human mind was going to be more powerful, where you were going to have access to superpowers, etc. So why have I given up on trying to save the whole country? Because it was said that at this time in human history, there was going to be a dramatic shift and that reality was not going to be collective. That you were going to be able to create your own reality in all arenas, even if everybody else around you is going up in flames or falling off the edge of a cliff, you can be okay. That's today. That wasn't 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago. We had a collective consciousness and a collective creation of reality. Not today. So I'm not going to give up whatever it is that I do to contribute, but I accept that it's not going to be everybody that's going to be able to benefit, take part, be interested. A lot of people are going through this paradigm collapse asleep. And that's their choice. But the path when you're asleep is only one way, and it's down. For those who are more awake, the continuous worrying is debilitating. You have to be constantly creating, and you have to be constantly protecting your creations, which are your projects, your bank account, etc. And you have to constantly be aware of what it is that could damage your instrument for creation, which is the human mind. And this is what the human mind looks like. And that's in the book that I just published. It's on Amazon. The human mind has two systems. The center one that you're seeing in gold used to be called the causal body, and it literally is the Holy Grail. It has the shape and everything, and it is the Holy Grail. That channels all of your intentions from incarnation to incarnation. If you don't believe in other past lives, you can either hang up now, or you can stick with us and just put that information to the side. But I cannot leave it out because it is a reality. And those of you that have a very limited lens, that are totally hooked on this modern life that we are all living, including me, it's not going to get really good for you. You have to widen your lens, because you are not just your physical body. You are other bodies too. Like the Russian dolls, every little doll inside that set, you own one of those bodies. And those are the ones that create reality. The physical body is only a symptom of what you created. So, getting back to how to sustain yourself and create your reality, even if the city you live in, the country you live in, everybody in your industry is going down the tubes, you can remain prosperous or whatever it is that you want, because you create your reality. God made this a planet of free will. So you have the right to choose to be evil. You have the right to do anything you want. It's not that I agree with it. That's the divine plan. And then God gave us the ability to create with the acceptance of we all have the right to create however we want, good, bad, whatever. So how do you sustain your creations? Well, why don't we look at what the business schools teach, which is you have to have a business plan. Now, I didn't know anything about business plans, and I had a business when I left it to go into this alternative type thing when consulting, etc. I did get contracted by an extremely large and one old corporation, and I found out all about business plans. And then when they hired me for stress management, because they needed a stress management with a wider lens, and I was able to give it to them. It was very effective in case you have a company that where everybody's going ballistic for whatever reason, just sheer frustration. It doesn't have to be that the company numbers are down or that things aren't going well. It could be just simply the sheer frustration that the employees, human capital, bring to the company, and multiply that by as many people as you have, everybody with the excess fire, and you can see why you would have a very volatile situation. So widening the lens to be able to understand these new factors that are on the planet that I don't have an exclusive on, but that your medical doctors and your government are not telling you about because it's not to their advantage. They don't know what to do about it. Not taking those things into consideration is really bad for your bottom line. So back to the business plan. Do you have a plan? Well, yeah, we're going to do this. Well, how are you going to get there? You have to have more than, yeah, I'm going to do this, or yeah, I'm going to open up a business. And I have been giving for the last several weeks a chat that's called Ask Francis About Your Business in Spanish. And I have learned so much. Nobody has the vitality to do business. I remember several years ago, I had somebody who was very well positioned in his country asked me that if they got this contract for what is a public service, I don't know if it was water or if it was electricity, they could have gotten the contract. He asked me if would they get the contract? And I went, yeah, you're going to get the contract. You just got a problem. He says, what is that? I said, you don't have the vitality. We're talking a huge business. He says, yes, I know, I'm used to that. I said, yeah, but that was when you had vitality. You don't have any vitality now. You're crawling on your belly and you know it. And two of the people in the room that were not the owners went, that's true. We don't know how we're going to do this. But not because they're not capable, because they could hire more people. They don't have the vitality for something new. So you have to look at that factor. So people are not as vital as they used to be. So you have to get that figured out. We have it figured out. You need more of the elements of Earth and you need less radiation. It's that simple. Now, how to get people to do that, that's another story. You need a business plan because it was proven that the executives that had business plans, the chances of them achieving the business plan were so much more than if they didn't have a business plan that it didn't make any sense not to do a business plan. So do you have a business plan? Huh? Huh? Do you? And you're supposed to put it in a drawer. You're supposed to also review it with other people and they'll find holes in it, whatever, and you adjust, put it in a drawer, and you're supposed to look at it like once a month and remind yourself of your business plan, which you don't remember because you're overwhelmed with problems and because you're too tired. And you'll think about it tomorrow, like Gone with the Wind. I'll think about it tomorrow. Tomorrow's not going to be any better in terms of that. What is the environment your employees or you are working in? Are you working in an environment that's conducive towards expansion or stability? I can tell you, I'm living in a temporary space, temporary 6 or 8 months a year. So it's not my favorite setup to start out with, but I had to put down my pet, one of my 2 pets. And of course, it was extremely depressing. And I left the house for several days with my other dog. When I came back, I thought the energy here, because it's not a large place, I thought it was going to knock me over. The level of depression inside of my apartment. I was like, oh my God, I can't be there. And then I went, and I got out my music and the crystal bowls and the mantra. Even though I want to die, I love and accept myself because that's the way I feel sometimes when I think about the pet that I had to put down. So my environment, if I hadn't been so sensitive and I wasn't so aware how environment is one of the 2 factors that I found when I did all those sessions. Ask Francis about your business. Vitality, environment. Those were the 2 factors that were stopping these people that had a business or wanted a business. The third one was a lack of focus. Oh, I don't know what I want to do for business. I don't know if I should keep this business. Or what do you think? What? You don't run a business like, what do you think? And I don't know. No, that's up here. That's desires. Intentions are all the way down there in between your legs, root chakra. No, that doesn't work. And too many, those 3 things, lack of vitality, environment, and mental daydreaming. I remember a very intelligent friend of mine many years ago who said to me, when I had left a business with 30 some employees to go into this, she said, every day you have to figure out and you have to do something towards this new business. I said, what new business? Because this was like, not, how do you do a business out of this? How do I keep supporting myself, even though the other company was able to keep supporting me because I did the mantra for a year? Today, you don't have to do it that long. So what are you doing in terms of the environment of where your employees are working? And I'm going to say it again. I took cameras to a home. I was invited in to see, and it was full of spirits and really bad energy. And at the end, I said, well, how often do you open the windows? When was the last time you opened the windows? And the person said, oh, since we moved here. I went, okay, how many years ago was that? Or how many? She said, 14 years. 14 years they had never opened the windows. They were recycling every single death, argument with the husband, divorce, the kids depressed because they got a bad grade, the person who comes in to clean a frightened immigrants and bringing that to the house every day. Human events, never purified, never given a chance for the air to move, for the elements to come in through an open window. Your company, when was the last time you opened the windows? And if you think that you can do it without having something done to the other dimensions of your spaces, you think wrong. Now, today we may have a video called the Mantrista Trilling. We have it 10 hours long. I suggest you have it all day long in your place. Now, 2 ways to do it. When I came home and I found this place so full of depression, it knocked me down. I put on the trilling music and it moved that energy, moved it. And plus, thank God it was cool. I opened the front and the back of the apartment and the wind could go through. That was really good. But then by today, I didn't want to just feel flat and not wanting to die. I wanted a little bit more. So I put on the other music that's called Mantrista, the power of Mantristas, which has drumming and you can see feet beating the ground. Made me feel more up. I didn't need any longer for the to be flattened. I needed more vitality. That's the other dimensions. And now science is saying that sound is the most effective healer, and it is. So we have a whole collection. It's free. It's on YouTube. You don't have to spend a penny. And these sounds are very nice to hear, so I don't think you'll get complaints. But it doesn't really matter. You have to provide a decent environment for the people who work for you or for your structure that creates reality. There has to be an environment that sustains that nurtures your ability to create. So your environment, your vitality, where's it at? When was the last time you went to the beach? When is the last time you went to the beach every day for 7 days? Oh, no, I don't know. I'm not on vacation. You don't have to be on vacation. You can go after work. You can go before work. You can invest in your bank account by making sure that you have enough of the elements within your aura of all your bodies. Okay? Cell phones, radiation. In the future, everybody's going to look back and say, we did the same thing again that we did in Atlantis. Same thing. We developed technology without looking at the ramifications on the human system, physical body, electric body, which is the etheric, emotional body, which is the spirit, mental body, and causal body. They didn't look at any of that. In Atlantis, there were competing temples, and they all wanted the fastest and biggest and best advances in technology, and they had a lot of help from off planet, like what those accusations that are going on now that are probably legitimate about how the governments have worked with the ETs and the technology, etc. They did it in Atlantis. They didn't stop to think or to investigate. They didn't take the time. They were too much of a rush to get to the top, to compete against the next temple, and they never looked, and the technology is what took them down. So in the future, we're going to look back and go, we did it again. We didn't learn from Atlantis, and we didn't. And we didn't. So, but here I'm telling you that technology, cell phones, everything that radiates Wi-Fi, and I'm not going to go into 5G because I haven't even bothered looking at that. It's so bad. And I'm going to say it again, and I know you've heard it before, but you're going to hear it again. One of the companies that consults with me had me come in and to find out what they could do to have more sales. So 5 salespeople, I'm not sure if it's 4 or 5, it doesn't really matter. So I worked with each one individually. I would sit them in the office, and then I would ask, what does this person need to adjust to sell more? And they, of course, were interested because they earned percentages of what they sold. Everyone except for one person, the one thing that blocked more sales was they slept with their cell phone. Or you can say, I don't sleep with my cell phone. I have it right on my bedside. What, you have it 4 feet away? That's sleeping with your cell phone. Because if it was a woman or a man, you'd be sleeping with that person. The fact that you don't have it on your chest or in between your legs, this is good, but you're still sleeping with your cell phone. So sleeping with the cell phone was what stopped 4 out of the 5 people from having better sales. And then it was whispered in my ear by those that I consult with, spirits, a particular group of spirits, And they said, ask them about whether their mouth is dry in the morning. So I did. All four of them. Oh yeah, I wake up in the morning. God, I want water. I always leave water by my bed. They said, when I wake up in the morning, I need water. And I said, is your mouth dry in the morning? Yeah, four of them. And I'm talking about women that were, I don't think any one of them was over 50, young, 30, 25 to 50, let's say. Well, they had dry mouth. Dry mouth is a condition that people get when they're over 75 years old. And it usually has to do with medication that's not good for them. And then their teeth start to fall and rot and all the rest of that. Young people, 20s, 30s, 40s, dry mouth, sleeping with a cell phone. Cell phone radiates, microwave, boils water. Your cells are 80, 90% water. So the modern stuff could be the stuff that's killing your people. It has killed 2 generations of our children. They are not what they used to be. Their vitality, in terms of the strength of their heart, 10 years ago was 15% less than their parents. And it is said that this generation of kids is the first generation that is weaker than their parents. And now they're saying this is the first generation of kids that is less intelligent than their parents. And it has to do with radiation. Microwave, you're beaming microwave. You need to be in this cycle with a wider lens, because this is not the same world. Demanding that things be the way it used to be, not going to work. And here today in the news is just one piece of evidence. Let me show you. You know all about northern lights, correct? Well, it turns out that planet Earth is not capable of producing orange light. So when these started to appear very recently, orange northern lights, and not in the north, we're getting them way south. In other words, northern lights are no longer restricted to the north, and they now have colors that don't originate from this planet. Well, if you have a lens that's like this and you refuse to open it, okay, those are factors that are going to influence you, whether you want to take them in as information or not, whether you want to make adjustments or not. It's a high horse and say this is not the way to be. Well, I agree with you. I did the program I was in really poorly, but in terms of the other stuff, I've done really well in this paradigm that is collapsing. But we're not going to be able to stop this. This was prophesied 5,000 years ago and 2,000 years ago in the Bible. Almost all indigenous tribes have prophecies about this time. You have to take them into consideration. And then the last thing that I'm going to say is you have to have stress management. How on earth can we expect for people that live under the conditions we're all living in under today to come to work and to leave their emotional issues at the door? We were told that for decades in this country. I don't think they did that in Europe. I think they treat their human capital better. I'm not sure. You can't leave the emotions at the door because you see emotions transfer. And I'll just say one story and then I'm finished. You need stress management for your people. And the mantras and the mantrista music makes a huge difference. But my story about transference of energy, because you could be in a hall and there's 10 office suites, you're fine. Either side of you, they're going out of business or they're hanging on by their fingertips. So one day I'm sitting at my computer and I'm going, oh my God, I think I want some coffee. And then I just didn't want to get up. And then I think I want some coffee. And then I stopped and I went, wait, I don't even like coffee. This was years ago. Now I like coffee, but I didn't like coffee. And I wanted coffee. This happens, by the way, with sex also. You have to be really careful. You may think you like somebody and it turns out that it's really them liking you and you're feeling it. So I had somebody else in the office and I went to them and I said, "Do you want coffee?" And the person said, "Oh my God, I can't stop thinking about it. Yeah, I want coffee, but I didn't want to get up because I'm in the middle of this thing that you asked me to do." And I said, "Don't worry about it. I'll make the coffee." In other words, they wanted coffee desperately. They didn't want to get up to get it. So they repressed it. It leaves one of these energy bodies, and then my physical body, not really my physical body, actually, one of my bodies, the spirit body, was able to feel the spirit body, which is the astral emotional body. I was able to feel what this person wanted that she could not get because she had a good priority to finish what I gave her. That happens all the time. So how do you keep your head above water if everybody else is drowning? Well, you have to know that what you're feeling is probably not yours. And then you have to keep, like I say, if something awful comes out in the news or you feel something awful, you need to direct yourself towards that. And you need to do a mantra, or if you have something better, do it. A mantra. Even though I want to die, I love and accept myself, such as with my pet, or even though it's scary, everybody going bankrupt, I love and accept myself. And then you have to swing back to that famous vector that Elon talks about. That vector, which is what creates reality, you have to swing back to that and remember what your intentions are. You have to refocus. You can get distracted by realities, and then you have to go back to creating your reality. So I'm going to end that. On that note, we are available for stress management, but we are starting tomorrow a worldwide stress management program having to do with trying to keep ourselves from going crazy, from fear and depression, having to do with what's going on today in the Mideast, but tomorrow may happen in Africa. So we will be having 1 hour a day at 8 o'clock at night. We will be here on both our channels, on Twitter and on YouTube and on Facebook, Instagram, not Instagram. I don't know how to do live there yet. And we will have an open space with one mantra that's for world peace and one music, which is, I will end this and put it on for you to be able to listen to it. And the mantra is, please God help me with my intention that there be a miraculous solution to the anger and fear. I was surprised at the wording of the mantra having to do with, because this is directed towards world peace. We created those wars. We can recreate. But the emotions are everything. Can't leave them at the door. So you're more than welcome to join us. You can swing in, you can swing out. And if you had a very depressing day, once you do 15, 20 minutes of mantra, you completely shift, and then you can transfer to your projects, to your employees, and to your family a much more positive energy. You're welcome to join us, even if it has only to do with your business, even if you just want to feel better in order to be able to sustain the business that you have today or make it grow. My name is Frances Fox, and we're here to give you these unseen factors, to stack the deck in your favor so that you can be one of the people that remains prosperous, even if everybody else falls down. Thank you for listening.